Ha! I got you guys good that time. Ha! That's why they have me here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. Yeah, we love that part. Here's your host of Shyzabox. Oh, we heard our introduction. That must be for us. Oh, everybody loves us. Oh, we're everyone's favorite. Oh, look out. Whoa, girl. Oh, down, girl. Oh, how do you get to work? Get out of here. And the horse. You wrote in on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, nuns and all. Welcome, priests, preachers, rabbis, cardinals, bishops, individuals out trying to make a buck, anyone who's down upon their luck. We welcome everyone. That's right. Believe you me, when you have a channel with as low view count as here, you need all the views you can get. You welcome everyone. Even bad people? Well, I mean, they're people. But, needless to say, why look at their past? Why not look past their past into that of their future? Doesn't matter. But point being, welcome to the show. We've got a free one for you today. That's right. Just remember, you get out of it what you put into it. That's right. So, since we called Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrity there is, right? That's right. Yes. There comes a point in time that, you need to develop that of your marketing strategy and things of that nature. Okay? Yes. Now, we know that when you're sitting at, the threshold of ones of viewification, subscriberifications, things of that nature, when we sell ones of literary books every, ones of weeks or so, eventually someone's going to have to buy them, right? Eventually, no matter what, when you're going through, all right, when you're dealing with that of what was back in the day, all right, you need to start venturing, all right, into that of utilization of the techniques and practices. Like we said, we need to focus on the marketing around here, all right? And what better way to do that than to kick off the show, all right, and do that of which marketing has been drilled into our heads, at least driving down, the highway, interstate, roadways, wherever. It doesn't matter. But we're going to utilize these techniques and practices that have come to prove very, fruitful for the businesses, the entities, the, individuals that for their businesses, seek to get that additional revenue, that additional patronage to their establishment, okay? Now, it works a little different on the digital, okay? But inherently, the marketing's pretty much the same, all right? People are driving by, they see their short feeds, they're like, skip this dumb shit, right? Nah, okay, sure. But on occasion, someone will go to swipe or refresh their feed, and they're like, oh, who's this dude restreaming or streaming or anything like that? And one of our videos will pop up, and when they go to swipe, they'll accidentally click on it, okay? And thereupon, we accidentally get an extra downvote here or there, or on occasion, someone might even do the subscribification or the upvoted dudification, okay? But, like we said, out of the gate, this show, all right, we had the discussion that, Manny Colin told us how to kind of, do it. We have to increase the marketing around here, and we can't just do it on the back end of the show, okay? So we got to kind of just, out of the gate, try and drive that viewership and everything like that up for those ones of, additional viewers and things of that nature. Now, like we said, this technique works on highways, businesses, and everything like that So theoretically, it should, with all intents and purposes, do the exact same. And that is, of course, a wacky waving inflatable flailing arm guy. That's right. Now, people go through when they see the, kind of upload, and they're like, oh, wow, well, guess I gotta stop by this channel, right? Or they'll say they don't have to, but either way, the marketing budget is spent from the book sales from the month before the month, and the marketing budget has been spent back on the channel, in whole for everything that it's had, the ones of dollars, right? Every channel grows at its own pace, but excellent. With this here, driving the, viewership, the subscribifications, okay? Now we can inherently move past the marketing aspect of the show, okay? Excellent. And not have to even focus in on any of that again, okay? Perfect. So now we can get to the nitty-gritty, okay? Now we can talk about back in the day, and we can also talk about, forward in the future, okay? Because not only is there a past, but herein we reside in the present, and theoretically, there's going to be a future, right? And every second, that is a new dawning of time and or point in, life, all right? That is movable, malleable, perceivable, interactable, interchangeable. Any of that stuff, okay? Whatever is transmutational and, has characteristics of such to be such in nature, which inherently pretty much everything does if you, break it down on the basic level, but it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. You should always know that you need to climb a mountain, all right, before you stand on one to climb it, okay? Yeah. Just because we view water, all right, and I say, humans view water as H2O, all right, what we drink, what we swim in, what we bathe in, what we wash with, anything like that. Just because we view it like that doesn't mean fish view it like that, right? Okay? Perception is perception to that of the entities with which, perceivably, they perceive with, right? But as we move into, the heart and foundation of the show, all right, obviously back in the day, we had our buddy, or whatever, Dave, he wanted to write some books and things of that nature, right? And so, yeah, fantastic. And so he wanted us to, kind of dabble with them and, kind of walk him through the process, get him, through it and everything like that, okay? Yes. And we did that, and it was fantastic, okay? But turns out he still wants to do more work, okay? So we've kind of pivoted a little bit, and we've been helping our buddy. He's going through, he's got his second copy, or well, not second copy, Secret Demon Drop 2 coming out, okay? That's right. Now, a lot of people have dug this one and things of that nature, but we've kind of pivoted and everything like that on some of our other stuff, and we've been kind of refocusing and re-helping him on, Secret Demon Drop. So that's going to be, coming out hopefully sooner than later, and believe it or not, you can go get your copies of the original Secret Demon Drop now on the Amazon or the Kindle Unlimited or whatever, in preparation for that should you choose, okay? And believe it or not, you should have plenty of time to even go through and read it before the next one comes out, okay? Fantastic. But we have pivoted or whatever. Our buddy, like we said, he is working on his second Secret Demon Drop 2. So we're going to help him, more with that one, get that one out into fruition and into, that of being and everything, just because, he is very good at some things, but he's not as computer-esque or whatever. Hell, we aren't even as well. Okay? Right. We do philosophize and we do, compile stuff together, and we work well hand in hand together. So, inherently, that is something to look forward to. All right, Secret Demon Drop 2. But, you can get your copies of Secret Demon Drop now, but that is something that we have that has been back in the day we were working on, okay? And now, moving forward to the future, all right, there's more of that coming. Okay, there's more of that iteration. There's more of that versioning. There's more of that story. Okay, now we would be doing a disservice to our buddy if we didn't at least promote by reading the back of his book here, okay? Now, keep in mind that, you know, you can get this now, okay? All right, Secret Dream and Drop by David Newsom, and then, of course, we helped him. DeAndre has just decoded the most important note of his life, one that will help him and his friends defend his school, town, and city from demons, just like his friends did overseas back east. Can new friendships arise from the battle of secrecy, secret agent note passing, and discovering that a line of ancient witches and warlocks may indeed be the last line of defense against invading demons? But more importantly, who is Tabitha? Now, Secret Demon Drop. Believe you me, you don't want to be behind when the next iteration comes out. So, you might want to add that one to your I might buy this list. Then, forward in the future, okay, when the next iteration is out, hopefully sooner than later, Secret Demon Drop True, you can look back in the day and be like, well, I went to Amazon or Kindle Unlimited, did my little free trial, read Secret Demon Drop 1, and, believe it or not, now I'm ready for Secret Demon Drop 2, okay? Back in the day, the things that you do affect that what can lead to what you devise or create or utilize in the future. Now, obviously, this is ever apparent in the decisions one makes, in that of their growings up, that of their life cycles, that of their everything. Yes, hello and hi to Huytri. Well, we remember you. Huytri. Welcome back to the show. That's right. It's going to be pretty much the same kind of show it always is. You can hijack it and make it totally better by entertaining that of your thoughts with us and not that of entirely our own. Now, believe you me, we are prepared to vernacularly take on the entire apparatus that is a stream, okay? We can fill the dead space, the dead air, and, you know, put at ease the minds and ears of one who might click on this to watch later and things of that nature, all right? Now, what makes them all the more special, all the more better, is when they're interlaced with all of these great interjections from that of, you know, the actual portion of any apparatus of individual or entity with whom wishes to, in the present, all right, be able to reflect on back in the day, having been here, all right, and changing or making it all the more special, better, different comparatively to the trajectory it was going, all right, for where it will end up forward in the future, which will be, obviously, in that of the present for when people are looking at it for what happened back in the day, okay? It's all crazy. Metaphysics is crazy, but, you know, when you start throwing it on a viewable working timeline, you know, you can kind of disseminate and at least categorically categorize some different aspects and components thereof it. Makes it a lot easier for the metaphysical, you know, hyper-quandary analysis. Fantastic. But as we continue on the trajectory of the show, okay, as we said, we're prepared to lay out the foundation of which, okay, as well established, okay, that we are able to present to you, the ones of viewers. Hi, Mom. All right. Before we even venture into that, we do need to issue a unfortunately, blanketed apology, okay? Well, sure. All right, you might take offense or anything like that, but it's in these times, these endeavors, all right, that we issue these apologies, that we can look back in the day and say, hey, we apologized for that. We're very sorry, okay? So, pertaining to our last live stream, sorry about that. Yes, okay, all right, yeah, good. We apologize. Excellent. Hydrogen, hey, baby. What about hydrogen? Uranium? Well, what about uranium? Where are you going with this? All right, we see you like that. What do you want to talk about? Some like chemistry and things of that nature? Yeah, we can. Back in the day, we got a C in chemistry. Oh, maybe we shouldn't talk about that here. We can. We got a little better at it. Atom. Well, Atom in his package is one of a very favorite listen of ours to go back and listen to on occasion. We love Atom in his package. Great, great, great musical endeavor. A quark. Well, you seem to have been talking about some, scientific aspects and components of things that apparently drive your motivation now. And believe you me, looking forward to the future, we aren't opposed to where you're going with your vernacular reasoning there of one-word disseminations. But, baby, we can call you baby, right? Nah, of course we can. So, B-money. You're going to have to be more specific where you want the conversation to go, because we can, of course, entice any aspect component. Nice green atom on your hat. Well, thank you. We like to think there are atoms that make up a lot of things. When we look back in the day, all right, or forward into the future, which you can't really look into either one. You can contemplate, you can think of, you can, analyze, you can reflect upon, but, you can't just revisit it, right? No, of course not. One has to only dive into that of what can be understood, all right, pertaining to it. All right, you can't, no do-overs, no takesies, backsies, okay, no resets, all right? You get one chance to utilize that time with which you are given, to utilize that time you are given with which to utilize. Yeah. It flows like that, but, it does. Keep up. For one to dive into the talks of chemistry or, physics or biochemistry or thermodynamics or entropy or any component or aspect of mathematical, scientific endeavors or things of that nature, you can really reflect thensely on a lot of different components that all of those can make up. By the way, I don't calculate atom amount, I randomize it. Well, you should randomize atoms. But believe you me, if you don't calculate it and you just randomize it, then you came across one of the best random calculations that you possibly could, all right? Now, if you do scientific stuff, guess what? We do balance it, okay? We balance it to such a degree, we have zero remainders left over, all right? Not only that, but we don't hide behind our math and science or any component or aspect thereof, all right? We have our open notebooks on Kaggle. Check for yourself, okay? Shyzabox don't like remainders, okay? We balance it. So, if you are the randomization, we are the determination, okay? Believe you me, baby, we can call you baby, right? Of course we can. We work hand in hand together. Hey, Jace is back. Jace, welcome back. We barely knew you were gone because we're just so used to your presence and it makes the show all the better. You want for you to explain tornado. Oh, are you back into the tornado? We recollect now from back in the day. Good old tornadoes. Yeah, you can explain tornadoes all you want. Now, keep in mind, this is all for philosophical entertainment. And utilize anything with which is disseminated in that of inherently your own risk without any overseen native fact checkers or things of that nature. You must do your own due diligence and things of that nature. Okay, excellent. Good. So, hold on, management's calling. What do you want? We're on time. We're doing the show. Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, no, we're getting along great with the audience. Yeah. Yeah, we already apologized for last stream. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Well, you're making this look really shitty right now. All right, stop interrupting. Yeah, management. They think they know how to run the place. Sometimes they do. Okay, it will take a long time to type, so just wait. Well, we will. We're not going anywhere. Believe it or not, it's our show. So we're a part of it. Now, we have to be. We called Daryl Dixon dibs on being best of the worst internet celebrities there is. And believe you me, with such a commitment and such a notoriety that comes with that, you know, being best of the worst, inherently, we wait around for all of the better comings and goings before we even undertake that of which. Okay? So you take your time, you type it out. We'll just fill the dead airspace with more crap. Which reminds me, it's about this point in the show that we like to read a little bit of a quote from Transmutating God. Yeah, that's right. See, look at this airspace filler. You might say it was planned, but believe you me, it is now. You look back in the day and be like, oh, wow, they must have had this shit planned out. Dude typing about tornadoes, space being filled with just filler, eh? What are we even watching? No one knows. But it's ironclad. No, it's not. That's backwards. Well, Reverse's Internet. Buy your own copy and you can get one physically, that is. Reverse's 40s. Or not. Excellent. Well, we didn't get to that quote yet, but we got a chat to read, so hold your britches and skirts. Or pantaloons. Or, if you're not wearing any pants, it's a weird thing to celebrate, hold your britches. And maybe put them on. Or don't. Tornado forms when their wind at low altitude is weak and the high wind altitude is at different direction and stronger as the wind indirect. They make horizontally vortex. And I have no space for text. Hey, don't sweat it. We got the overall gist. So yes, the mixing of what you're saying is obviously the different airs had the elements and altitudes of being a higher wind altitude and one at a weaker and lower altitude, therefore making a vortex and a cylinder and whatnot. Yes, perfection. Now, believe it or not, one of our first monographings that we ever picked up, in fact, one, you know, we don't even have a lot of them. Granted, we created and made our own. Back in the day, a delectable. It's monographing elected. Nah, don't buy the physical copy. It's super expensive. The digital one in Kindle Unlimited, you check it out there. Don't get the physical copy of delectable. It's way too expensive. But yeah, some of our monographs and such or whatever are entirely on weather and things of that nature, and some of those that came out. Very, very interesting reads, and believe it or not, laid the foundation for a lot of our just kind of contemplative thought, all right, even though it was kind of redescribing things that may be known or more better affiliated with that of mankind's innate knowledge and things in this nature, going back and seeing, all right, how it was described into being, how it was recorded into understanding and things of that nature, inherently planted a nice little seed saying like, hey, monographings are important for where they are important, okay? If one doesn't know weather, if one doesn't understand weather, and one needs to present or has a desire to contemplate the dissemination of an understanding thereof weather, okay, then obviously you're going to seek said knowledge, such as Baby did, okay? And, believe it or not, same thing's going to go hand in hand. If you're wanting to find out usages of lectin and you try and, you know, pinpoint and establish vernacular usages therewith, and then you run into Wikipedia and they have a red dead-end link and things of that nature. All right. Well, we'll get into this. Okay, and no space for text. The heat from the ground make updraft and then flips the vortex and grow cloud like cumulonimbus clouds, but rotating called supercell. Their tornado mostly form at edge and the rear flank downdraft form. Excellent. Well, you keep typing and we'll keep those coming, baby. We gotcha. Where were we? Nowhere important. Hey, you're probably right. as we, venture into the past endeavors, okay? When we ran into the dead-end link on Wikipedia for lectin, we were like, well, what the hell's this, okay? So we, wrote a little article, okay? Paragraph, sent it to him like, hey, add this to your web of the site, okay? Your Wiki of the pedia, okay? All right? Well, Wikipedia's stupid, okay? Well, not all the way, but most of them. Some of them, in our opinion. This is all for philosophical entertainment. That wasn't entertainment. Yes, it was. Look, what an awesome flick we did. That was an accident. Hey, don't point out our shortcomings. Our mom does that enough. That's not a joke. Sons of bitches. When we ran into the red dead-end link for lectin on Wikipedia, we were like, all right, well, here's a little paragraph. Add this to your site, you fix it. Well, Wikipedia comes back and they say, no, we don't want to. Okay? That's right. We're like, well, why not? They're like, well, because it's a red dead-end link. We're stupid, okay? We're like, well, why don't you go talk to someone with a doctorate in philosophy and get them to add it? That's fine. Do that, okay? And Wikipedia came back and said, no, because we're stupid. And we're like, well, if you're so stupid, escalate this shit to your boss. So they did. And we went through the same rigmarole 2-3 times, okay? Well, it's not a joke. Pain in the ass. People are stupid, okay? Theoretically, not in totality, just in certain usages of their positions with which they safeguard and gatekeep that of what they don't understand as knowledge or understanding. Okay? We like to call them dumbasses. Hence, our angsty works, pickled punk philosophy, okay? This one's soaked in brine. Not literally. Metaphorically. This is our angsty Wikipedia, you're stupid, okay? Now, our slap it in Wikipedia's face, that Wikipedia, you're entirely stupid and dumb, not in everything, but in some things, in the manners of how you safeguard that of your safeguarding of what you deem to be information, okay? Because in many cases it's not. Here's our slap you, fuck you in the face to Wikipedia, okay? Because not only inherently were they completely inherently wrong, okay? But we went ahead and monograph lectin in an entire book for ourselves because they're stupid. Okay? Not entirely, just in portions of their safeguarding and gatekeeping information. Obviously, they're intelligent individuals, otherwise they wouldn't be where they are. Okay? Fair enough. We don't want to look back in the day and be like, we really did insult Wikipedia too much. Okay? Because inherently, they serve a purpose, they serve a role. But one thing that stands out entirely from our foundation, all right, from school, from high school, from college, elementary should have been the lead up in the first time we said school, would have sounded better if we did it that way. From elementary school to middle school to high school to college. And we graduated somehow. We were always told, you can't use Wikipedia. Don't use Wikipedia, it's not allowed. No Wikipedia, okay? Then all of a sudden, there's like some power shift happened or changed or took place, and all of a sudden, Wikipedia's the go-to, right? All of a sudden, Wikipedia is correct. So we were told growing up and in school from professors, teachers, academics, doctors of, everything, you can't use Wikipedia as a source. You can't use it as a reference, okay? Then all of a sudden, it's acceptable, and all of a sudden, they safeguard and gatekeep the information, okay? And with them doing such, they inhibit the dissemination of that of truth. That's right. Even if it's a theoretical truth, therein lies the truth exists, okay? So like we said, we didn't want to look back on the past, back in the day, be like, well, we badmouthed Wikipedia too much on that stream. Okay? So we're sorry, Wikipedia, but not really, because, fuck you guys. Okay? You guys, you operate inefficiently. all right? You might serve a very good purpose, and you might have a very great platform, all right, that does a monumental service to humanity, okay? But the entities that harbor the decisions at the top of it, the apparatus that is in control of how it is in operation, they are fucking stupid, okay? Theoretically, in our opinion, for philosophical entertainment. Thusly, we monograph lectin or whatever as a big up yours to Wikipedia, okay? And, ironically, okay, because we were so correct in our usages therewith, bold claim, Cotton! Because we were so correct in our usages therewith, lectin, old ancient pre-Stoic philosophical term, because we were so correct in our usages, we literally moved a metric kernel of data from Kaggle to Web 3, okay? Bold claim to state something of such on the enter of the net zone. Right? One look back in the day and be like, well, this dude claimed he moved a metric kernel of data from Kaggle to Web 3. Is this dude loopy or what? No, we don't hide behind it. We got the ipfs site. We got our sovereign micro blockchain. Up yours, Wikipedia. We monographed the shit out of lectin, and believe it or not, you don't even have to add it to your site or believe it that it exists, okay? It exists because we have it right here. So, as we continue to look back in the day and not want to gripe on Wikipedia's management or their, upper tier decision making or how they operate as far as the safeguarding and gatekeeping of wisdom, information, knowledge, understanding, truth that is to be, okay? We don't want to look back in the day and be like, we badmouth those dudes too much. So we apologize. We're a little sorry. A little bit. Okay? They hold a great place and they do a monumental service, and that cannot be understated. All right? The dissemination of even the most basic of knowledge and information inherently riddled and lined with truth is that of not only what should be a necessity, but that is the optimum functional methodology for all truth and knowledge to be given freely to those who desire to seek it. Okay? Wikipedia just... they don't understand some of the components or aspects because the apparatus is so big. Okay? You can't encapsulate all of human knowledge, all right, with your individual tiers of management because they don't understand all of knowledge, right? You can't safeguard and gatekeep that of all of human knowledge because your individual safeguarding and gatekeeping are only safeguarding and gatekeeping that of their limited understandings, okay? Now, we claim it ourselves to have limited understanding as well, okay? It's not something to celebrate. Mankind, as a whole, we feel has limited understanding. Well, boo all you want. Mankind's kind of stupid, okay? Well, I mean, we are and we aren't, right? You don't want to look back in the day and, to the past and be like, oh, we badmouth mankind. People think we're some autonomous robot. Okay? We're not. Shyzalosophy is the living practice, okay? Symbiotic living philosophy, okay? I want to make sure that we're not missing this. That's all I know. Good morning. Hey, Rue! We know that you came in a minute ago. We're on a tirade and a rant of something about Wikipedia. But we did see you, Rue. Welcome back. We can still call you Rue, right? Nah, of course we can. Our money. It's good to see you. Spelling thing I like with eye closed. Tornado, interkeeper, and folding bed. Well, we like folding beds too. Because believe it or not, sometimes you just need more space to play Legos. Or a board game or something. I don't know. Or I don't know. Maybe you want to dance in your living room or something like that. Point is that, where were we? Bitching about Wikipedia? Nah, we shouldn't do that anymore. Like we said, they provide a service that is good. But inherently, because they operate inefficiently, all right, at the foundational level of safeguarding all of understanding and knowledge when they only have individuals overseeing that of their understanding of knowledge, okay? All of this is all of knowledge. Their individuals are here, and this is their understanding of knowledge, okay? They safeguard this, say, oh, you can't have this other knowledge out here, okay, because we don't understand it. Okay? That inherently is an issue for mankind, and that's the only thing that inherently they need to resolve or rectify in order to do that. Even if they have, hell, have a theoretical color word, okay? This is for you, Wikipedia. Here's your saving grace functionality. You get something, okay? It can be something obscenely different as far as a color-coded word, okay? You don't have your red dead-end link. You don't have your blue, like, you know, links that you can click, stuff like that. Get a different color, all right, for your theoretical. And then allow that of which is theoretically sound, solid, viable, to exist in that of the realm that it does. That will single-handedly take care of a lot of your cutting off of universal wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, okay? So, there you go. Good. Now that we're back even with Wikipedia, okay, yeah, we might as well cover our bases one more time and issue a blanketed to Wikipedia for our insulting any of their stupid-ass managers, okay? Without further ado, Wikipedia, sincerely, for insulting your stupidity over the oversight of the safeguarding of knowledge and information, okay? That's not a joke. Trying to issue an apology to Wikipedia here. So for calling you guys stupid, Wikipedia, not all resolve in regard, but in the, you know, decision makers with which we're directly overseeing that of our case, in their stupidity inherently to not pursue outside means to, you know, corroborate that of understanding or knowledge, we just want to say sorry to Wikipedia, okay, for being mean and hurting their fifis for them being stupid, okay? Not entirely, but, you know, in that of what they safeguarded. So we're sorry, Wikipedia. There. Excellent. Moving on, we would have looked back in the day and been like, man, if we didn't issue that apology to Wikipedia, we would have felt bad. Believe you me, we probably wouldn't. So, as we venture into that of forward into the future, as we move into that of what will be, all right, as we acknowledged, okay, our buddy has his second version of Secret Demon Drop 2 coming out, okay, so you can go visit, get the first Secret Demon Drop now, all right, before the second one hits shelves. But we want to go back, and we did say we were going to do a reading from our Transmutating God, okay. You don't got to buy it. A free reading. So, Transmutating God, this is, you know, one of the works that we have here, available on Amazon should you choose to go. You might, someone might. But we wanted to read a short passage here. Where is it? Okay. That wasn't the quote we wanted to read. Hurry up! Do better! Well. I think we found it now. All right, so that of beast is that of physical, okay? Transmutating to accomplish that of its carnal and basic needs out of sheer necessity rather than out of the desire for a universal betterment thereof, okay? Now you might be saying, what the hell does that mean? Now, that means that inherently you're going to have to read the rest of the book to find out. It's like a cliffhanger. you get a taste, and if you want the whole piece, you got to go to Amazon and buy that shit. That of what is entertained, that of what is done, all right, is necessitated by that of what is needed, okay? And at the most primal and carnal of levels, all right, that's facilitated and utilized and established underlyingly, okay, with the foundational, innate, and inherent essence of being, all right, that is attributed to any living life form with which is be. I think, therefore I am. Do other entities think, therefore they are? Do animalia and beasts and things of that nature think, or do they act? Okay. Do they drive, or are they driven? Okay. You look back to the past and see that migratory patterns have been established for species for many, 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 many a year, okay? With these migratory patterns being thusly established, are these beasts, are these, animals in nature, okay? Are they driven, or do they drive themselves, okay? That inherently is going to be the foundational understanding, okay, with which one can go forward knowing of one thinking, therefore them being, or one understanding that, an entity that is to be, all right, they can desire to act and or think and or inherently subsist on their own accord, all right, and be a driver and not merely be driven. None of that made any sense. How much time did it waste? Like a minute. Well, good. I guess, in retrospect, before we get further, pertaining to this stream, sorry about that. Excellent. Good. All right. Forgive and forget. Okay. Without further delay. As we move forward into, that of the more updates and stuff of we got another version of the music player that we've been dragging our feet. It's kind of done. We just haven't, gotten it up or whatever, anything yet. Because what's up now works already. So, who cares? No one's paying us anyway. If I pay you, will you? Well, absolutely. We sell out fast. I mean, buy in. Yeah. It's that SLC punk philosophy. When we move into that of now the foundational knowledge of knowing we're going to be sitting at a terminal for a couple hours on end, getting our buddies' work transcribed there for them and up and running, okay? Now, believe you me, there's worse ways that we could have our time spent, okay? Now, there is. I mean, we would rather be working with a buddy, all right, doing something, inherently in the creative endeavors or realms or sphere, all right, than dropping the ball and not doing anything, okay? Believe you me, whilst many moments might be entertained with ball drops, mainly New Year's. Ah, good one. What about puberty? Hey! Nuh-uh. Oh, too far. Too far. Kick them out. We don't want to drop the ball, okay, on... Yes. Internet. You're a silly bunch. We don't want to drop the ball on any of the... That's fine. We're just going to transition and move on. All right. Well, we've read from Transmutating God. All right. Not a work that we read from all too often, okay? But we wanted to read that passage, all right, and share that because we know not a lot of people want to go buy the book. Okay? But it's these free readings, these free passages that we disseminate and, give that up freely. that allows that of our conscious thought, and that of our, Shyzalosophy, doctrine as its self therein contained. We like adding to that the surrounding and supporting elements therewith, especially when it comes to any of the more theologically derived works with which we, take upon or introduce or disseminate to that of whoever wishes, okay? When we move into works like Bless Me, Father, for I will sin, or Why Hast Thou Forsaken Me, or anything like that, it really comes down to the fact that, like we, state rather frequently, St. Thomas Aquinas, all right, really merged a lot of the metaphysical components that Aristotle had, freely given to that of whom pursued and understood that of his means and nature, okay? With St. Thomas Aquinas bridging the rest of that gap and allowing that of the theological means and avenues to come and contemplate and fathom and understand that of what is presented forth, all right, by that of his works, all right, it really lends a heavy, heavy doorway opening, okay? How's that heavy? I don't know. How about wide? Oh, you talking about fat people, wide and heavy? No. But we can see the mix-up. That has conflated that of just your ever-present, all-watchful eye and that of our everyday lives here on this earthly world. That, believe it or not, has a passage right before it. Read that. Is it our failures in mankind's account? Well, back in the day, we would say it definitely was our failures in mankind's account, all right, which lent its moving into the future, all right, in the realm of payoff to the degree of outcome, okay? When you start entertaining that of, as they stated earlier, baby with the randomization, okay, and us with the, more put everything in its place where it goesization. Why don't you clean up your act then? Hey. If you don't have a roof, you only speak the truth. Sounded good. Now, at first. Doesn't matter. As we venture into moving into the future, okay, one always looks back, thinks on, and dwells on the past, all right? And now outcome, if it's randomized outcome or a determined outcome, is very, very fascinating to think of when you correlate or entangle that, all right, with the metaphysical hyper analysis and quantum logical reasoning and study, okay, things of that nature. When you're playing and dabbling, all right, in contemplation of outcomes, all right, it very, very much helps to have a structured lithic lattice, if you will, okay, with which one can maintain a solid trajectory to prevent that of hallucination, all right, so that you're still flowing in a current, forward-thinking fashion, okay, pulsing forward, the light of truth, okay, if you will. All right, measure the birds against the light. You gotta do that. If you're fathoming, all right, that of your reasoning, logic, argumentation, and stuff, and you're not accounting for that of what determinately can be controlled, okay, via the manipulation, yes, okay, of the outcome, but under the guise of a facilitated need, okay? Structurally and dynamically, all right, that's what we present and bring forth and do in that of our lectonic usages and such with any of our, deductive theory or anything like that, okay? When we monographed lectin in our book Delectable, we did such for the sheer reason of kicking Wikipedia in their teeth mouth, okay? Not nice, we know, okay? But they pissed us off, okay? They made us irate, all right, when inherently they were incorrect in our opinion and told us that, there was nothing that they could do about it, okay? The hell do you mean you can't do anything about it? Safeguarders of that of what is, okay? Unacceptable. Okay? So, in doing such, with us putting then on the line, right, our angsty punk rock nature and raised up by Mama Right. Here's the damn Kennedys! Put them on! Hurry! Quick! Black flag! How is school? Here's Ramones! I don't know. Time to rock the Vandals, honey. Everyone grows up different. The angstiness of our youth, right, likes to rear its head on occasion, okay? Hello, I remember you. Well, Bluesky, we remember you too. Believe you me, we believe it was ones of streams ago you were talking about Roblox. And that of therewith. Or something. Yeah, we're pretty sure that was probably it. Yes, how are you? How's life? We hope you are faring well. Hello and hi. We're talking about a lot of crap again. We're not going to lie. We were feeling angsty, okay, at the time when we wrote Pickled Punk Philosophy, because it was shortly thereafter our interdealings and interactions with Wikipedia, okay? Now, our first interaction was turning that article that we argued with, or paragraph, really, that we argued. This book should be a paragraph's worth of length, okay? The paragraph thereof necessitated to talk about lectin, all right, being declined into that of being, all right, facilitated the angsty, pissed off pickle, all right, into coming into being, okay? So this angsty, pissed off pickle, all right, this punk rock pickle, from Pickled Punk Philosophy, available on Amazon.com and Kindle of the Unlimited, okay, soaked in brine, of course, metaphysically for your reading pleasure. You need to hear this quote to truly understand how angry we truly were at the time, okay? Well, we were pissed off, okay? We feel we had a right to be. Here's a quote from Pickled Punk Philosophy we're going to give you for free. You're damn right we do. That's not really a quote from the book. We read it from the book, therefore it's quoted. Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense out of context. We're not going to argue with you ourselves. Buy the book and you can read it. Context that shit yourself. Oh, you son of a bitch. Hey, just trying to make a buck. Or $250 if someone buys that. Don't buy the physical copy of Delectable. This is the digital one, if you care to. All right, what else do we got going on? Yeah, we pretty much dabbled in this, that, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, a little bit of happy, a little bit of sad. Okay? But back in the day, you would say that that's a full fleshed out show. That's a full, everything that one could want or desire to see. Now, inherently, you might be saying, like, did you actually cover anything today? Okay? Well, absolutely we did. Okay? I know that we single-handedly talked about tornadoes in depth, okay? Thanks, baby. Call you baby, right? Nah, of course we can. Beat money. You single-handedly saved the show with the information presented, okay? Now, we went on a tirade here and there. We went on a rant and a little bit of a story tell with, that of a limited interaction with Wikipedia over the course of a few days, okay? Right, but it's in that course of a few days that laid the foundation and set the stones for what eventually became that of, in essence, our entire literary discography that we have put out. Now, I don't know if you can say discography for your literary works and endeavors, but we sure as hell just did. Back in the day, you might not have been able to, but, when you're thinking of, the punk rock elements of what true dissemination is today, okay? Is it still getting your music out there for everyone to hear? Well, absolutely for their good old-fashioned punk rock nature, okay? Music is that of what touches the soul, okay? And it's a beautiful thing. Okay? Even the black death metal that rains down from Scandinavia and all those places, okay? It can touch the heart and the soul. Okay? Oh, I love death metal. It's so romantic. Yes. To those that it touches the heart and soul of, it is the music of romance. Everyone else might like Taylor Swift, okay? That's fine. The discography that exists that doesn't touch your heart and soul, though, exists to touch your mind. And that's something that we enjoy touching. Yeah, it sounds a little weird, sure. Don't worry about it. Point is that as we sit back and as we finish our swill, okay, there is one thing that we failed to do, all right, today that we have not, as of yet, okay, and no, we already apologized for last stream. Common misconception thinking that we may have missed it, but believe you me, it's a very important step, okay, with which we need to do, okay. That's right. We constantly need to stay ahead of our behavior, okay. Believe you me, there's much that we must atone for and, ask forgiveness for through the big JC. That's right. Because in our theological endeavors and means, it's when we turn to the big Jesus, right? Okay? We think to ourselves, Jesus Christ, it'd be nice if you'd forgive us for all the bad stuff we do. And when we approach with pure heart and mind, okay, we like to think that, maybe Jesus is like, all right, I forgive you this time. And every time because I love you. Yeah. Oh. Thank you, Jesus. But, bridging that of the theological with that of the philosophical, okay, is something that philosophers have done for quite some time. Okay? And we would be remiss if in the eyes of man we didn't also harbor and hold those same evil intentions and ill wills, okay? Now, we have desires the same as man all over, okay? Well, yeah, sure. It's how you act on them, though, all right? That pays off, okay? We have a desire, all right, to achieve, okay? We have a desire to create, okay? We have a desire to maybe not be a good philosopher, but have our name in the conversation of a good philosopher. Okay? Okay? Therein is where we're going to focus. You see, in order to even be in the conversation of being a good philosopher, okay, again, we're not saying we are a good philosopher. We just want to be in the conversation of being a good philosopher. Okay? Inherently, we can exist as a bad one. Okay? But we can exist in the conversation. It's like, you know, there's that handful of people like that watch an award show and, you know, whoever wins, they're like, I wish that other person won, right? That's like a small, tiny sect of like, you know, we might not win on being a great philosopher, okay, but having our name in the conversation, okay, leads to it. But in order for any good philosopher to have their name in the conversation of even being a good philosopher, they need to have their own poetry book, okay? There's no way around it. If you want to be a good philosopher, you need to have a poetry book, okay? Hands down. I mean, we're 2026 now, okay? Halfway through just about, okay? It was right. Year's moving fast. You want to be a good philosopher, you need to have a poetry book. Hands down. Okay? You got to share that of the emotion here so you can relate that of the intellect here, okay? Emotion, intellect. So every good philosopher needs to have a poetry book. Now, again, we're not saying we're a good philosopher. This is all for philosophical entertainment. But we can inherently be in that conversation because we got our own poetry book. And believe you me, there's one thing that we want to do for you now, and that's read one of our poems for you. It's free, and it's from our book. Well, you don't got to buy it. Okay? Perfect. All right. Now, from How Poetry, Coetry, How Coetry, Poetry, okay? Available on Amazon.com, Kindle of the Unlimited, okay? Yes, hello, and hi. But before we read, obviously, one of our poems from How Poetry, Coetry, How Coetry, Poetry, okay? Available on Amazon.com, Kindle Unlimited. You can't just venture and read poetry into the aether, all right, without having cleansed the environment, first and foremost. Now, any of the returning viewers, watchers, anything like that have been around for, you know, a couple episodes, hi, Mom, knows how to do this, and it's the adherence to the performative measures of 90s comedy and philosophical practice that permeated and existed in sitcoms and movies and things like that, you know, reared and made face in that of the 90s, okay? So, without further ado, we are going to cleanse the environment and the atmosphere around here of all the sick and evil Joey-ness. That's right. Yes, yes. We're going to clean all the nasty, Joey, vile disgustingness up from around this, you know, ether in our general vicinity. All right, we're going to collect it and get rid of it, okay? And obviously, the adherence to the practices and measures in place from 90s sitcoms and movies and things like that are the only way to move forward to do such. So without further ado, to cleanse the aether, we continue. That was 2. It takes 3. Everyone knows this. Excellent. All right. Now that the aether's clear, all right, we got all that negative energy. We're going to put it all in the center here, okay? Excellent. Excellent. Now that all of this energy is in this little square here, right in front of our face. Excellent. All right. Now we got this energy that was here, this negative energy. We're going to get rid of it. Excellent. Now it's in your house. But ether around here is clear, and we can read our poetry. You're welcome. All right. This one we've read once or twice on here, okay? Now, If you haven't bought the book, it's like reading it again for free. There you go. This one is called Diceth of the Man. Andrew of the Dices, Dices of the Clay. Legendary delivery. In vulgarest of ways. Funniest of the banter. Wittiest of the joke. Yo mother. Excellent. What a fantastic poem that was. Now, believe you me, okay? Like we said, we might not be a good philosopher. Well, it's all opinion. Some of you might think we are, okay? No, thank you. Hi, Mom. But our name's in the hat, okay? So all good philosophers need to have a poetry book, and we have one, okay? So we might not be a good philosopher, but we get to have our name in the conversation, okay? So we got a poetry book. Excellent, that's just how it works. 2026, we set the rules. Show me a philosopher, I'll show you a poetry book. That's how it works. You're not a philosopher if you don't disseminate poetry, okay? There's too much going on in today's world for philosophers not to, you know, divulge that of the music of their souls, okay? In the realm of that of poetry, all right? Really is something that needs to be presented and forthwith given, okay? Freely. You know? Well, except in, you know, the case of buying the book. Obviously, that costs a couple bucks. Now, all the games and the demos on ipfs are free. You don't got to pay for those. That's right. It's a trade-off, you know? Yeah, maybe not a good one. But it's how we make a buck. So, needless to say, as we are observant of the fact we're out of swill, and we've kicked it around long enough to disseminate all of which we desired, or inadvertently we'll look back in the day and be like, oh man, we forgot to say this, that, the other, okay? And believe you me, it's in looking to the future that we hope to never have to look back to the past and remember that we're unhappy with the decisions that we made when we were living in that of the present. That's right. So, remember, if you want to get out of here before us, now's your chance. We're going to be kicking it and getting out of here ourselves. But remember, always be sure you take care of yourself first. That's right. Make sure that you are in a good place, a good standing, a good environment, okay? Make sure that you have everything that you need. So there's only one of you. Believe you me, we can't replace subscribers that fast. It takes us forever to make fake accounts and subscribe to ourselves. Point is, there's only one of you. You take care of yourself first. Then you look around to your left, to your right, to your forward, to your back, and you take care of anyone else around you that needs it more than anyone else second. Anyone who's down on their luck, anyone who's dying out, anyone who's bleeding out, anyone who needs it, you take care of them second, because that is the right thing to do in the eyes of God, and that is what they need, okay? Let Jesus afford them the opportunity for you to lend them the help, okay? After you do that, take care of yourself first. Take care of those who really, truly need it in the eyes of God second, okay? Then you take care of, thirdly, when you look around, anyone that you like and or love more than us, okay? Unlikely, okay? But maybe you like someone 6, 7 more times than us, okay? You take care of them third. But any other crap you got left over, any other crap, scraps, piddly change, ones of cents, we'll take it. That's what we're here for. We call Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrity there is. And believe you me, that's getting a lot of the best of the worst. crap. So, remember, we don't want your subscription, we want your money. So downvote the shit out of this, go to Cashapp and give us $1, or go to Amazon and buy one of our books. Get off our lawn!